What do you think, Lindsay, gets in the way? Like your dad saying, like, I can't wrap my head around, my liberal daughter loving guns and going out hunting, but also going to gay discos and what is it that gets in most people ways of either learning how to explore and embrace their own multitudes or being able to comprehend that in other people?
Yeah. I think it's part of it is like, are you still boxing yourself in? Are you
Yeah.
still looking at those sort of like external factors and listening to that noise that like I know I did for so long of, well, this is what I should be doing. This is what I need to be doing. Well, if I do this, then I can only do this. And like, it's something I'm all kind of still moving through with having like a recruiting, like Linda in HR is my consulting business. But then I also do stand up comedy that is very not suitable for an office. But it's like, that's okay. And just like getting comfortable with those like paradox sort
Oh,
of,
okay. Yeah.
it's like
Uh-huh.
it's like multiple things can be true at once, and that's okay.
Life's too short for bad coffee or bad leadership. I'm Lindsay Yellin, executive leadership coach, coffee enthusiast, and former ad VP turned believer in leading from a place of possibility. On Unfiltered Leadership, we skip the buzzwords and dig into the messy, human, and powerful side of leadership with real conversations and practical takeaways. Now grab your mug. Let's dive in. Today at Unfiltered Leadership, I am joined by someone who embodies the idea that we all contain multitudes. The one and only Lindsey Simmons. She's the founder of Linda in HR, a fractional talent leader, and a career coach. She is also an avid hunter, fly fisher, comedian, writer, and door mother at New York's iconic Mother Disco. Lindsay is so dynamic and so freaking cool. I know you're going to love getting to know her as much as I have over the last couple of years. But what I love most about Lindsay is how boldly she refuses to fit into any box. In our conversation, we talk about embracing the parts of yourself that you've ignored, navigating unexpected career changes, finding freedom after letting go of all the shoulds, and what the job market really looks like heading into the new year. So some good insider tips there. So if you're craving permission to evolve or a reminder that you get to rewrite your story at any time, this episode is for you. I know you're going to love it as much as I did. Hey, Linz, I'm so happy that you're here. Welcome to Unfiltered Leadership.
Thanks so much for inviting me. I'm so happy to be here.
How are you? So it's like early evening time in New York for you right now?
Yeah. Well, now it's dark outside, so that means it's past 4 o'clock.
No, the doom and gloom time of the year. And what's hilarious is like, we always seem to forget. Like I talk to everyone, they're like, so angry it's dark so early. I'm like, me too. But this does happen every year. Like
It
this
does,
does.
but every year I get a little older, and every year it just like seems to sneak up faster and impact me worse.
That's so fair. That's so
Do
fair.
I just need to go to bed now? Yeah, probably.
I guess so. For me right now, I'm like, oh gosh, it's dark. Oh man, I guess I just can't do anything else anymore. I
It's
just have
like,
to
I
go.
gotta lay down now. See you later.
That's a great excuse.
I'm so
But tell
cool.
me what's in your mug tonight.
Mm. Um, in my mug is Republic of Tea, blackberry sage tea with
Oh, sounds really
some
good.
honey that my landlord's daughter made on my roof. They have a little apiary upstairs. So we got some queen's honey going on in this cup. And my mug is from an art gallery in Maine, Gallery 302 in Bridgeton, Maine, and it's made by Celia Talbot, who is the local potter who made it. And how cool it looks like a
It
tree
is.
bark.
It really does. I saw you pick it up. I'm like, that's a great mug.
Yeah.
So today I have this mug, this like all
Ooh,
green mug. This is from Mary Carroll out of Portland. I have like a huge collection of her mugs because I fell
so
in love with them.
beautiful.
And this is actually Carrie's favorite mug. I stole from him because I was looking, I usually try to pick a mug that like reminds me or makes me think of the person I'm talking to. And this one just felt like really cool and earthy. Like I was like, if I'm going to go to a cabin fly fishing or hunting with Lindsay, what mug would I bring? And I'm like, actually, I might bring this as like probably the mug I would bring.
It looks like a mug that I would want in my future cabin. So yeah, thanks
Yeah.
for the inspo. Love.
So it's green with like a little, I don't know what they call this, like
It's like a little half
line
sun thing. It kind of
sunset
reminds me of
thing.
like sunrise, sunset, maybe.
And I have some
Hmm.
like coffee from earlier. That is from, I'll shout out the roaster too, Native Roaster. If no one's heard of them and you're a big coffee person, highly, highly recommend them. They are out of Colombia, and it's like this amazing
Ooh.
producer. And what's really cool is like by this really famous coffee producer, Dago, I forget his name, but he's out of Colombia, and now he started a production out of Colombia where they grow, pick, process, and roast all on site at this place in Colombia. They ship it to you really fresh, and they do all this like, experimental processing. The coffee is super good, and their bags are beautiful. And anyways, that's my that's my shout, my
Oh,
plug for
amazing. I'll have
coffee.
to send you some coffee from my local coffee shop. Their stuff is so cute. And they always have like
Yes.
different flavors. Yeah, and I'll send you like a video from it because they have a really cool like roasting situation in there.
You're speaking my language. Um, so Linz, where I wanted to start our conversation off today was, I mean, I already mentioned that you are someone like we were just talking earlier about how fly fishing, how you want to start fly fishing retreats. We're going to get into that for women's leadership, but you also do hunting. You're also an expert in recruiting and, career navigation. And you are somebody who to me contains many multitudes. And I was very much in the last year or so have been exploring that myself as I went from, advertising person to coach to then barista as well, and like trying to expand, how I spend my time, what I'm known for. And
Hmm.
there was a quote, I don't know, did you ever see the movie Life of Chuck that came out like last spring?
No,
Okay, first of all,
now I
it's so
have to.
good. It's actually amazingly good. But they quote this poem from Walt Whitman, like Song of Myself, and it says, and I like have this pulled quote from it that says, "Do I contradict myself? Very well, then I contradict myself. I am large. I contain multitudes."
Yep.
And you are someone, unlike anyone I know, that like creates a space to contain all of your multitudes and owns them so fully all the time. So I just would love to understand what your journey has been in like learning that about yourself and like uncovering this and what that has done for you and your career and all the above.
Oh, Lindsay, thank you so much for that question and quote. Yeah, this is a great place to start. So I think around when I turned 40 was like kind of the big switch mark for me. And I realized I mean, and this is like part of my stand up too. I started doing that when I turned
Oh,
42.
yes, you're also a
Um,
comedian, so
yeah, also
add that
that.
to the list.
But it's like I broke up with my boyfriend, got laid off, came out, and then was like, what do I want to do with my life? And then like started my consulting practice basically.
That's right when we
And
met.
yeah, it really was. And I like after I got laid off, it was the first time in my life that I had like an open window in front of me. I took my exit package. I thanked them. Like, I'm like, thank you for opening this door. Honestly, I knew that I wasn't happy, but I didn't want to say it because I also liked the people that I worked with so much.
Yeah.
I mean, my old boss was the one who got me involved in the hunting club that I'm in. And so she and I are still really close to this day. And she's like, I knew you needed the push. I was like, thank you, because otherwise I would have just stayed here and been miserable and like, but like wanted to be close to you. She's like, yeah, the thing is, we're still going to be close. I was like, appreciate you. See you on the other side.
I don't
And
want to on you, but I want to pause on this for a moment because I think this
yeah,
is really important because, and I don't know what you notice with people that you work with, but the like without the push, I wouldn't like this the first time I had the opening and like it kind of became a catalyst for you.
yeah.
And I just wonder because so many people in the last year or two, more than anyone, like the layoffs, the uncertainty, and like
I mean, over a
the-
million people have been laid off like for like each year for the
that's
past couple of years. It's not nothing.
so. And I mean, not everybody like is like, oh, I needed this catalyst to like start something fresh. Like everyone's situation's different. But if
Totally.
you had to reflect on what allowed you to like be able to see more of the possibility and like the
Mm,
opportunity and the gratitude in the moment, whereas I think it's so easy for people to be stuck in fear and scarcity because it's a very scary
100%.
thing.
100%. Like had that happened at any other time, I probably would have spiraled into just like my default behaviors of like panic paralysis. And but I also think when I right before I turned 30, I moved to the city. I'd was dating someone who at the time like thought they were my whole world, which is like so laughable to say now.
No,
It's like,
that's amazing.
who am I giving somebody that much power over my life and my time? That is so silly. But like, I quit my job and I was like, the only thing I knew in that moment that was when I was in New York, I felt happier and more joyful than I'd ever felt in recent memory. And so I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew I couldn't stay where I was. I knew I needed to come to New York. And so I quit my job, had nothing in front of me, stayed at my bartended. I moved back into my parents' house, bartended at their friend's restaurant, and was just like hustling, doing interviews, came to New York, did interviews. I moved here right before I turned 30 with a 6-week temp job, a suitcase, and no apartment. But I knew this is where I needed to be. And I knew the city gave me a window in and I would just make it work because I also navigated most of my life like undiagnosed ADHD. So we've got like a pretty high risk tolerance situation going on. And I just when the layoff happened right before I turned 40, I was like, you know what? I moved here with a temp job and like really no plan, no structure, and I just figured it out. I bet on myself and I made it work. Didn't do it alone. Couldn't have done it without the friends and family that let me couch surf all over their apartment like for months while I was figuring out what I was doing and where I was going, and like landed in Astoria and have been here ever since. But just kind of reflecting on hard things that I've come through and made it on the other side that were so on the other side of the hard stuff was
Yeah.
so much better than anything I could have imagined. Even right now where I'm sitting today, it's kind of hilarious because it's almost a full circle. Like I grew up in the Shenandoah Valley and now live in New York City, but love hunting and fly fishing. And like what, I'm able to like reframe kind of like coming home to my roots in a very different capacity, like on my own terms.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I continue to just talk to myself. Also, like I have an excellent therapist and I'm grateful for like all the work that she's helped me do on myself to get in this mental state of like reframing situations that otherwise might cause me to like spiral back into like the comfortability and familiarity of like chaos and panic. And it's like, hey, let's just look at this. We have been through hard things before. We will get through hard things now. We will be
Yeah.
better on the other side. We don't know what that is, but it's like I trust myself enough to know that whatever I have to do to make things work, I will do that.
There's a couple things I want to underscore in that. And the first being the reframing and the power of that. And that's something, of course, as coaches, we do with folks all the time. And I have to do it for myself all the time. And it's like, but reframing isn't about, so reframing is basically how to like find a new perspective that might be more opportunity driven or just make you see a path forward that you couldn't see before. And it's not
Hmm.
about, I think it's important to clarify that it's not about like a toxic positivity of like everything is
No,
awesome. We're not like Legoland
no,
over here.
no.
It's not
It's
that.
very grounded in reality. Like,
Yes.
and part of that reality grounding is not spiraling in that negative direction, but also not deluding yourself with like, everything's fine. It's totally fine. That's not reality either. Like, but
It's
being able
about,
to just look things square in the eye and like think through it. Yeah.
and it allows you to be able to look at the situation or look at other paths forward from a regulated place where often the spiral, the fear driven, the paralysis is all very from places very dysregulated and very you
Yes.
shut from a shutdown place. You're not open for connection. You're not open for creativity. There's just not a lot you can do there. It's very a frozen mindset
Yeah. 100%.
versus one that's more open-minded to like being able to uncover different of your own resources or start to find different threads that you can pull that can like start to bring some light in and pull you forward out of like the fear place.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think too, having really great mentors was like another, and like other people in your circle that you can have those real conversations with where you can like say like this is what I'm struggling with, or like I'm in a really hard place, and
Yeah.
but saying it from that grounded vantage point, you are open to like hearing the guidance that someone who may have been through similar challenging scenarios can give you different tools, different tactics, different just guidance that can help you figure out how you're going to move accordingly.
If you get kind of stuck in like a very shut down, fear driven place, which, by the way, navigating a hard layoff or something unexpected like that, like we've talked about this, even the trainings we've done together, like there's grief there. Like you have to
For
create the space
sure.
for that. Um,
Yeah.
but when you're able to kind of come to or wanting to start to lift your head up or look forward a little bit, two things you talked about. One is like not forgetting about your resilience. I think it's really
Hmm.
easy when kind of knocked down. I feel like it's easier to stay down there, and those
Yeah.
saboteurs can make us think a lot of things about ourselves that are not very helpful in getting back up. But
Hmm.
like you said, remembering all the hard, like, I think it's like Robin from Peloton says this, I love it all the time. It's like, you have survived 100% of your bad days, right? Like you have.
100%.
So, and I just remind my clients too, especially when they're making job decisions and they're like, I don't know if I take this job or I don't know if I do this, or like, I don't know what to do. And they're feeling very like, "Ugh," because they can't
Hmm.
tell the future. And it's like, we don't know what it's going to be, but what we do
Yeah.
know is how you do have the tools to navigate your way through it.
Yeah.
So you will be okay. Getting back in touch with like knowing what can you do to remember your resilience, and then the network. Like people forget that people love to help people, but they don't
Hmm.
know to help you
Yep.
until you ask for it, or extend that hand out or that hello, and to see who's on the other side. That's always surprising
Yeah.
to people too.
It's funny. I was listening to Vibe Tech, which is like one of my favorite podcasts. And Zach Stafford, I think it was Zach, had this quote. I think his grandfather shared this wisdom with him. He's like, "You don't GET unless you ASK." It's like that is so
You don't
wise because nobody's a mind reader, and like it is important to like reach out.
You know what? And I think we have this like fear or this belief like I don't want to bother people.
Hmm.
There's enough going on. But the reality is, and I was talking to someone recently. Maybe it was a client and like but it was someone that was like, oh, I was surprised how generous people are. Like
Yeah.
people love to be useful. They love to feel needed. And
Hmm.
most of the time people are going to want to help you. There
Absolutely.
is a there needs to be it needs to be reciprocal in the sense of showing up at a certain level of respect, being clear about what you want or need from them. There's like this certain rules of the road in managing those relationships, but people are eager to help, but you have to invite them to the table so they
Yeah.
can. So
Exactly.
funny. You don't GET if you don't ASK, is that what it
I know.
said?
I was like, I'm so obsessed with it. I was like, I'm writing this down. This is going to become canon for me. I am obsessed with it. It's like just the best advice that anyone could have.
Okay, well, if anyone so far in the first, handful of minutes here leaves with one thing, you're not going to get if you don't ask. GET
Bingo. Zach
must
Stafford on God.
AS. Okay, so I really derailed us, which I thought was this is really fruitful, but I derailed us from understanding you embracing and discovering in your multitudes. So I would love to get back to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So, like, after the layoff, again, it was the first time in my life I didn't have something immediately in front of me. And I realized, and, I'm grateful for the opportunities. Almost every transition I made between different jobs was following somebody that I previously worked with, getting, or having a former colleague reach out. And it was just like moving forward in constant motion, not taking breaks in between. And also, I was tired. I was exhausted. And I was, I'd just gotten out of a relationship and hadn't really dealt with that. And it just, I, I made a conscious effort. I just said to myself, okay, I'm grateful that I at least have this parachute of an exit package. Also, being in recruiting and having that layoff happen right before the holidays, like we are all in right now.
Yeah.
I knew from being a recruiter and in this world that Q4, not a ton of hiring's going on, especially right before the holidays. Like people are going to wrap up searches. Things are more likely going to bleed into January. Budgets are, the end of the year budgets are kind of coming in. People are planning for next year, but this is a more quiet time. And so I was like, all right, I know that for at least the next 6 to 8 weeks, not a whole lot's going to happen. So how do I want to use this time in an effective way that's not going to like spin me out and burn me out. And so I was like, this is really the time to kind of like reflect. Like, let me think about like what I've been doing. I knew I wasn't happy. So let me just actually sit with that for the first time ever. And so I did a lot of thinking and writing. I also did a like webinar seminar with Lisa Beasley, is Corporate Aaron, who people may know, like the character Corporate Aaron, who's like
Yes.
circle back, follow up, close the loop. But like the real person behind that, who is just an absolute, like, I don't even know. She's just like the wisest woman I've ever met.
Amazing.
And like just kind of took the insight she shared from the webinar I did with her, use that to kind of just like really dig in on like, why have I been making the choices I've been making? And like, not only in work, but in life and relationships. Also watched a lot of Drag Race. There's a lot of really good conversations that can like help you reflect on yourself. If anyone is open to that show or hasn't watched it, highly recommend. And like, in kind of just thinking and reflecting on why I've moved, how I've moved, and realizing I really spent most of my life to that point being a real people pleaser and trying to like fit into boxes that ultimately it's just not it. And that's okay. And then it was like, oh, also like relationship wise, actually, why am I constantly trying to date men and make this work when it's not working? And the reason is because I don't actually like you that much. No offense. You're great friends, but I need to stop trying to make fetch happen here. And it was just being able to, like, for the first time, like, be totally honest with myself, and then, like, letting that kind of guide how I wanted to move going forward. I knew I'd already bought the web domain for Linda in HR in, like, 2020. Just because I thought it was funny. And I knew at some point I would do consulting. I just didn't know when. And also because I was like constantly second guessing myself, I was like, oh, I don't know. I need to get like way more experience. It's like, how much experience how much more experience do I need?
I'll be ready when, but that when
Right.
is that
Exactly.
enoughness trap. Like it's never comes. It'll keep you
That
there
part,
forever.
the enoughness trap, that is a real thing. And then as I was like writing about all of this stuff and just kind of like brain dumping things, I was laughing so hard at myself and like the why I made the choices I made. And I was just like, this is so ridiculous. I should probably just talk about this on stage in front of strangers. That's a normal thing to think. And I was talking about this with my neighbors, and one of my neighbors had just done a stand-up class, at the club up the street. And he's like, you should do the class because that way there's like guidance and you get stage practice time, and then there's an actual show, but it's like more constructive and collaborative. So you're not slugging it out on your own. And so I did that, which was awesome and like such an exhilarating experience. And also it's like, if I can successfully do stand up like in New York, you can't tell me shit.
But like, what a way to put courageous action into something that like builds greater. You know, it's like, if I can do this, I can really do anything. Like, put me out there.
Yeah, truly. And also like during this time too, like I was doing a lot of like my mentor, I'm on the board of a women's hunting and fly fishing club. At the time I was just a member, but because I had a lot of free time and my mentor was retired, she was like, hey, come out to the field with me. And so I thought I would just like walk and like learn again, like being like, oh, it's going to be a while before I can do this. No, the first time she told me to walk the field with her, I shot my first bird. I was like, oh, turns out I'm really good at this, which was also exhilarating and was like, I am skilled. I have lots of skills. Like, I can now actually hunt a pheasant and then field dress it and then cook it for dinner. Look at me. And it's like I was gaining all these other experiences and skills that like I think are pretty badass, and was like, I'm doing these things. What else can I do? And was kind of just, it again like helps like reframe your brain into like the possibility mode of like, let's just see what else is there. And so yeah, it was all of that. And then my another good friend and mentor was like, so what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. And she's like, you've been talking about consulting and doing your own thing since I met you. Guess what, girl? Here's your sign. And I was like,
Hmm.
Yeah, you are someone I trust with my, like, career and my life, and, I think you're right, so thank you for telling me my business. Like, and I think
You
it's
know,
just, like, having great people who, like, really see you and know you and, like, want you to succeed and, like, want the best for you.
and you have to not just that can't just do the work on its own. You have to be open to receive it.
Yeah,
You have to be ready to move on it. But also, like, what I'm hearing on your story is like you were just like kind of kept saying yes and willing to
yeah,
take that step forward into something that might have been a little scary, a little unknown. It was like you kind of started down this path of all these unknowns by like, okay, I don't have a next thing in front of me. And with all the
yeah.
freedom and space, ended up just continuing to say yes to the things that felt good that were like moving you towards what I hear the person you wanted to become.
And those experiences, like, truly I also, like, practice Reiki, and my Reiki healer is the best. Shout out to Laura at Sacred Space. Everybody check her out. But, like, she helped me really get in touch with, like, my nervous system and pay
Yes.
attention to, like, the people and spaces and places and, like, where I am, who I'm with, and what, like, really lights me up and, like, feels good, like, in my chest. Like, I can't describe it any better than, like, what a glowworm would feel like if you had, like, that toy when you were a kid of
Yeah.
and it just really feels, like, warm and fuzzy, and I paid so much attention to that, as woo-woo as that sounds, like, being anchored to myself and, like, how I'm feeling and, like, mindful of that, and was just, like, a different level of, like, connection and helped me really focus on why am I feeling like this? If it's giving me am I feeling super anxious? Why? And
Yeah.
if I'm feeling really excited and energized, also why? And like paying attention to kind of how those things are showing up physically was another really cool experience that I previously didn't really pay attention to and had been like incredibly disconnected from myself. And so this was just a really different way to kind of move forward.
And, you say like, "Oh, it sounds woo woo," but actually it just sounds like embodiment of like what everyone needs and we're never taught. But like that is like
Mhm.
the secret sauce to life is like being able to guide yourself versus looking externally on the people that
Yeah,
you should be having in your that make you feel safe, what to say yes to, what to say no to, how like what does it mean to actually truly protect your we say protect your peace. That means like knowing what peace actually is to you, and that starts within your body. Like we can talk ourselves into anything in our head. Our body does not
sure.
lie. But we are taught and as
Mhm.
women and very early on not to listen to it, to question it, to judge it, to be in conflict with it
Abandon it.
all the time, to
Yeah.
abandon it, right?
Mm.
So it sounds like you were able to bring yourself back to yourself from a
Yeah,
very
I like it truly helped me, like, come home to myself. I say that,
Mhm.
like, all the time because it I and again, being able and, like I have conversations with my dad who, like, can't wrap his head around, like, this liberal daughter that lives in New York City, but all of a
Right.
sudden, like, loves guns and hunting and fly fishing, but, like, also goes to, like, gay discos and, like, isn't, like, can't, like I was like, "It's okay. Like, you can just contain multitudes," because, like I said this actually over the weekend because I was door mothering. Also, my friend has an amazing disco. It's frankly the premier gay disco in New York. Mother Disco, and
Mother
I'm the door
disco.
mother, and
No
which
way.
I just scan your tickets and welcome you into the disco, but it's my favorite thing to do because it's just a great time, and it's like, "Hey, welcome, everyone's safe here, have a great time, you're gonna hear beautiful music, you're gonna be able to dance your ass off, and you're just like, you're here with family, and this is just like a good safe space." And one of the guys this weekend was like, "How did you get here?" And I was like, "Well, Neil and I are dog park friends and he invited me to the disco. So I went hunting that morning and I came to the disco that night and they're like, "I'm sorry, you did what?" I
Like, yeah, you were
was like,
right.
"I went hunting. You own a gun?" I was like, "I do." "You're like the most masculine person here." I was like, "Thank you so much." I was like, "It's just a magical place to be." And like, it's okay. Like you can just be a lot of things. It's just
What do you
being who
think,
you are.
Lindsay, gets in the way? Like your dad saying, like, I can't wrap my head around, my liberal daughter loving guns and going out hunting, but also going to gay discos and what is it that gets in most people ways of either learning how to explore and embrace their own multitudes, or being able to comprehend that in other people.
Yeah, I think it's part of it is like, are you still boxing yourself in? Are you
Yeah.
still looking at those sort of like external factors and listening to that noise that like I know I did for so long of, well, this is what I should be doing. This is what I need to be doing. Well, if I do this, then I can only do this. And like, it's something I'm all kind of still moving through with having like a recruiting, like Linda in HR is my like consulting business. And, but then I also do stand up comedy that is very not suitable for an office. But it's like, that's okay. And just like getting comfortable with those kind of like, like maybe not dichotomies, but, oh,
Like contradictions almost?
yeah, maybe like like paradox sort
Oh,
of.
okay. Yeah.
It's like
Uh-huh.
it's like multiple things can be true at once, and that's okay. And and being able to sit with that and just letting it be, and versus like this doesn't make sense and I have to put you in a box and I have to this doesn't, and you need to figure this out and I don't understand why. You don't have to understand why. It's what is that to you?
Yeah.
Like, just
Yep.
be and do things that make you happy, be around people that bring you joy, and it's okay if they're very different things.
And like, I think that people are just, I just more and more I think about it, especially right now. People are just I'm not going to say people, like it's different. It's me too. We can often just be so uncomfortable in the gray, like because there's safety and fully and being able to kind of put things in boxes, black, white. Like, I understand
I
you.
think that's a fallacy. Like I think I don't think that's like a real sense of safety.
Of
That
course,
makes you,
completely.
yeah.
Like, no, that doesn't actually bring you safety.
Hmm.
But I think it's like an illusion of, if I'm able to
Yeah.
categorize you or categorize myself or other people, I will feel safer if people, like, know how to understand me and I fit within whatever this, like, defined box is by society. But really
Hmm.
what it does is it just disconnects ourselves and disconnects us from ourselves and from our potential,
Yep.
like, our full potential and, like, from fully living life.
Hmm.
So, who is Lindsay now that you have started your own business, gone into stand-up comedy, gotten into hunting and fly fishing, and your Mother Disco is a Mother Disco.
Hmm.
So many, and just filmed a reality TV show, which we'll talk about in a second. Like, who are you now versus the Lindsay that was at in a corporate job about to get laid off?
I feel free now, honestly. Um, I know who I am, and I'm very comfortable with that. Um, I'm also comfortable not explaining myself.
Yeah, that's huge.
I no longer feel the need to just like like the word vomit of my life. Like truly, it's like it is freeing to not have that like gut instinct to just over explain who
Yeah.
you are, what you're doing, where you are, like just whatever. Yeah, I feel very free and very grounded, and also like comfortable with the unknown,
Yeah.
in a way that, again, it's like I know things aren't always going to be smooth sailing. I mean, the journey of entrepreneurship is like just you have to be comfortable with the unknown. You have to have a high tolerance for risk and just know that like ultimately like you'll figure it out. And if you can't figure it out, people who can probably help you find a path forward. Um, but yeah, I would say Lindsay now is free.
Lindsay now is free. And what was like the greatest learning through that journey if somebody else is ready to step in for themselves that you wanted to leave them with? Like, what's like a pearl of wisdom?
I think it's very easy to continue moving forward in what is familiar. But I think if you sit with it a little longer and understand that familiar doesn't necessarily equate safety, what's best for you,
Mm,
um, and dig a little deeper into like why is this familiarity so comfortable? And is there something else that I really want that I'm not acknowledging?
yeah.
Or yeah, and just like sitting with yourself is something that is so hard for a lot of us to do. It was so hard for me to do for the first 40 years of my life. And I honestly don't think I would have had this like epiphany had I not been absolutely forced to sit with myself. In a way that's like I'm so grateful for it. Again, it was like not easy, certainly like the ups and downs of like not having a job, not having like active income going in. It's like, all right, we're going to make this work. We're going to figure it out. But also like, "Ugh." And I would just say to my dog every day, I'm like, I will take care of us. I will figure this out. We don't know how, but I will do it. And now we're like, I'm going to do some like job search, networking, planting seeds. And then we're going to go outside for a hike because that doesn't cost any money. And being in nature is incredibly grounding.
Yeah. And that sparks in me is like we can get so trapped in believing that our known discomfort is more comfortable than the unknown discomfort.
Hmm.
So, like you said, the familiar. And
Hmm.
it's like, okay, well, maybe it's just best if I just find another advertising job or just find another
Yeah.
recruiting job at the company. Or, I've always swam, I'll just try a new swim group or
Hmm.
and it's like, okay, but it's like the unknown discomfort is super scary because you're like, I think I'm
Yeah.
better here staying in what feels comfortable. This is comfortable, but it's actually
Hmm.
not comfortable because you're actually extremely uncomfortable. You just know how to handle it because you've used to it by now. And looking
Yeah.
outwardly, like, do I say yes to doing stand-up comedy? Do I say yes to launching my own thing or not knowing, what's the next step is? That seems really scary and uncomfortable, but that might be the right kind of discomfort that's going to lead you to actually true
Yeah.
fulfillment, self-understanding, embodiment, discovery, like the life you're actually meant to live, that you are desire to live, but are keeping yourself away from because of that.
Yeah. It's like, what is going to help like you break open
Yeah.
in a good way?
And it's okay
And
because you can put yourself back together.
exactly. That's the thing. It's like I know I've fallen apart multiple other times, and guess what? Like I'm much better on like the other side of that Humpty Dumpty, and that's happened a lot, like many, many times. And I'm sure it will happen again in a different capacity in the future. But I also know that I'm approaching that in a much more grounded capacity of like knowing who I am at my core and then being able to move through it with a different perspective.
And us trying so hard to avoid the Humpty Dumpty moments does not stop them from coming. Like
No,
we can't predict life. We
no.
can't save ourselves from hard moments and loss and and difficulty. But by doing the work and living a life that's in honor of ourselves and saying yes and like all the things you talked about, I think it builds up even greater resilience capacity, the right people around you for those moments, the right
Hmm.
perspectives to be able to
Yeah.
navigate them. All right, Lindsay, you were mentioning about entrepreneurship and how it like takes a lot of, you need to have a high tolerance of risk and your journey within it. And you just got back from filming a reality show for entrepreneurs being coached by like a panel of amazing coaches. So tell us a little bit about it and what was that like for you and who is now Lindsay on the other side of that?
Lindsay is an even like more changed person on the other side of the show. I went into it, it's something that came up on my Instagram feed, and like I clicked into it and made it through the casting process and was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm going to be on a reality show now. But also didn't really understand the show. Low-key thought it was a little bit of a scam. I said
I
this
were
to
too.
Wes when I got there. I was like, what am I doing? Because I find out that they're taping in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I've never been to Oklahoma. I've never heard of Oklahoma in a place where like shows would be made. I don't know. I was like, what is this? But also it's like part of the country that I've never been to. I enjoy long drives with my dog. And so I was like, you know what? We're going to make the most of this. And Wendell and I are going to go on a road trip to Oklahoma. He's going to stay at a bird camp north of Tulsa, and I'm going to go to Tulsa and film a reality show. It I had no expectations because I did not understand anything about the reality show, like industry, film industry in the day to day. Those were long days, but I now have like 80 new trauma bonded friends from the other contestants that were on the show. I have amazing connections with the judges and coaches panel that were there who are just incredible resources. Um, and have a lot more. Again, these were people that I otherwise never would have met in my life, but the fact that I was like open to going to this experience. It was, I mean, every single person there had a different story of their own hardships that they've overcome. All of the businesses were started out of passion or tragedy, but ultimately like wanting to help their family, their community, help other people. And like that is the glue that like really brought all of us together. Everyone comes from like different walks of life, different places, different backgrounds. But again, just kind of like fortified. It's like small business owners and entrepreneurs are like really the backbone of like what makes this country great, because they're ultimately in service of their communities and wanting to help people regardless of what the business itself is.
Yeah.
And there was something just like really beautiful to be in that space with other people who are on that similar solo journey where it gets lonely, and just finding that sort of community and camaraderie. Even on my drive back to New York, one of my new friends from the show, they're in Seattle, Luna Moore's Larders. Check out their hot sauces; they're delicious. But
yeah.
they talked. I left Virginia at like 6:00 on Friday, and they called and talked me up to Pennsylvania, and they're like, if you need to talk and you get tired, we're on Pacific time. And it's like, this is awesome. It's just, I'm so grateful for it. And also I met an amazing judge who likes to do outdoor retreats for leadership. And I'm now like really in process of planning the like fly fishing women's leadership retreats and queer leadership retreats that I want to plan, where it just gets us out in nature. And it's exciting. I'm really excited. But also being able to have just real curious conversations with strangers of like, you live in New York, what's that like? I've never been there. And just having conversations with people face to face and is so refreshing, because at the end of the day, it's like no one is as terrible as the screens in front of us make us believe they are.
Yeah.
And it just reminded me of like the shared humanity that I genuinely had sort of lost sight of. And I'm so grateful for it.
And when you say trauma bond, like,
because filming a reality show is insane. Okay. When you come from a corporate world where someone sends you a schedule and you're like, oh, okay, I'll take breaks here. This will be fine. And then you actually get into the filming and they're like, 9 a.m., cameras on, we're filming, you're not leaving until we tell you to. And then it's like 11 o'clock at night and you're like, I'm so tired and my brain hurts. What is this? And then you do it all over again.
And they're just filming you the entire time. Like you have no idea what they're going to use from you.
No clue. I hope I make 5 seconds of the final edit. Although I did play to my strengths. I know I don't have a poker face. And so I made sure to sit in the front row so I could really give them like good reaction shots, because I have a very expressive face.
So they'll like, you know what? They'll be there.
I was like, let me just try. I'll just get up there. We'll see.
Based on like, because you were there to be coached on entrepreneurship, like you talked about the retreats that you wanted to do. And now you have like this whole like catalyst of people here to support you, like basically putting you on the path to make this a reality, which is incredible. But what are some of the greatest nuggets, or what did you learn to like help shift your mindset around your business and how you want to grow? And I also want to talk about how, or just acknowledge the fact that you told me this earlier, that it was some people were like, we're going to talk about your contracting, your recruiting business, and they talked to this person about your retreat. So once again, multitudes. It's like, it wasn't like, oh, you must only focus on your recruiting business. It's like, no, you really want to make these retreats happen. That's possible, but also continuing to make sure, you're focused on this too.
Well, yeah, because I as typical neurodivergent like ADHDer, it's like I've got 1,000 ideas like firing in my head at all times in a given moment. And so it's like, well, I do this, but I also do this, but I do this, but I do this. And they're like, hey, let's dial it back. What's generating the most revenue for you right now? I was like, cool. The fractional recruiting consulting. They're like, great. That's what we're going to talk about. Pause. What is really lighting you up that you wanted to talk about? And I was like, building fly fishing leadership retreats for women and queer leaders. And they're like, cool. We're not the people for that. This is the person you're going to talk to about that. Go to town. I was like, great. And so it was awesome to like get that, like, in that capacity, it's like, I want someone to tell me my business, because I know that I've got a ton of ideas, but it's like, reel me in and help me focus. And so that was also like really refreshing. And those were like the 2 judges from New Jersey that were my absolute favorite. One of the guys, he started and sold a garbage company, so I just called him Tony Soprano.
It's the same thing. Get Tony.
Yeah,
Uh,
but an excellent coach.
so who is Lindsay on the other side of filming a reality entrepreneurship coaching show?
Lindsay definitely is I am more energized and optimistic of the reality of being able to successfully build these retreats and know that there is a need for it, and that I'll actually I have the tools to put this together and make it a reality. It's not just an idea. And I'm so excited to be able to move forward with this, hopefully in the next 2 years.
So
Maybe
amazing.
sooner.
And you know what? You would not have GET that if you did
Girl!
not ASK, right? If you didn't bring that
That's
up.
so true!
So once again, folks, you have to just say yes to step into the courage of sharing with the world what it is you dream about, what it is that you want. Speaking things into the universe is so powerful,
It's real.
and saying things out loud, because you never know who's going to be on the other side and what will come your way. But if you never ASK, you cannot GET.
I know. I was so inspired by a woman who was in my group the previous day who went there with her business, which is like this very bougie daycare where if I had kids, I would obviously send them to her. But she's like, I also am developing this like restorative drink for moms. And I was like, what? And then she talked about it in our whole session and was so passionate, just lit up. Like, I was like, I would like to buy this beverage. Like, I would like this feeling that you're selling. Yes, please. And she was just like so overcome with emotion. And I was like, I need to talk about the fly fishing stuff with somebody. I just have to do
Yes.
it.
Oh gosh. Imagine if you didn't.
I know. I was like, I will regret not leveraging this opportunity if I don't say something. So I'm really glad I did. I'm really
So
grateful
where
for
can
that woman's
people
courage that
watch
helped inspire me.
watch the show when it comes out?
What I know right now is that it's currently streaming on Prime. I will be season 24. I don't
What's it called? You never told us
know.
what it's called.
Oh, sorry. The show is called The Blox. If any of you are into the MTV Road Rules world, S from Road Rules started it. He apparently is quite a personality. I wasn't aware of his following and presence before I filmed the show. But he's a lovely human in person. Not very opposite of the clips that I saw of him on previous Road Rule seasons.
Man,
I know, it's so crazy. But yeah, I'll be on season 24. It is going to come out sometime in April.
April
2026. Yeah. Hopefully.
Okay.
We'll see.
We heard it here first, folks. So, Lynn, to wrap us up, it would be a disservice to our listeners if we didn't spend some time picking your brain around your expertise around recruiting, because you and I, like over a year ago, I think now, I mean, I don't even know where time is anymore.
What is time?
We led a workshop on courageous leadership and how to show up as leaders with people navigating uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even despite over a year later after putting that together, which I still feel was like such brilliant content, is that there is still so much uncertainty. Like you named earlier, like 1 million people getting laid off a year, and it feels like it's only more so. And I know that a lot of people I talk to, clients, friends, people just around, feel very defeated, very fearful around job searching, fearful of leaving a bad job because the job market's so bad. Like we've heard it all. We see it all over LinkedIn. So what knowledge and tips, like people are going to be listening to this in the new year. And if we were to encourage folks to maybe have a little bit of a mindset reset when it comes to recruiting or navigating the job market, what would you tell them?
Yeah. I'm going to acknowledge that it is as hard as you're feeling. Like it's that you're not making it up. It is an incredibly saturated market with layoffs, not only from private sector, but also from public sector roles. So what you're feeling is real. Just want to say that's valid. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to sugarcoat that or try to breeze over it with anything glossy, which I think is important to do. B, again, we're in that end of the year time right now. So being realistic with the needle may not move until the beginning of the year, and I know on average it does take people at least 6 months to find a new role. Just, like, wanting to paint reality of things and try to not,
That's
like,
what you're
sugarcoat.
seeing? It's like on
Yeah.
average 6 months. Okay. That's good.
Um,
Good to know.
that that being said, like, using this time to, like, really reflect and, like, get clear on, like, what you want, what makes you happy, and also being open to different opportunities. I think having, like, networking conversations, like, reaching out to people in your network, having coffee chats, having, like, video calls, I think is a great way to plant seeds. Keep yourself top of mind in other people's networks, so as opportunities come up that may not be posted everywhere, your name, your experience is gonna be top of mind, and they could say, "Oh, so and so, let me connect you." Leveraging your friends' networks, searching on LinkedIn. Hey, I saw that you're connected to this person. Would you mind making an introduction? I'm interested in this company. I'm interested in this role. Again, make the ask, make it like in a constructive way, keep it short and sweet. But make the ask. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help. If you are working on your resume and kind of feeling stuck there, there's a lot of information about how to try to tailor it to beat an ATS. You're not going to beat an ATS. What you need to focus on is like
What's
what
an
you can
ATS?
control. Oh, sorry, an
Automatic.
applicant tracking system. So
Okay, is that
like
like the automatic
Greenhouse or
systems like
yeah,
companies
like
use?
wherever you're sending your resume into. Yeah. And so um thinking about your resume as like your highlight reel, and really writing it yourself. You can use a GPT to like zhuzh it up or help with editing, but like you need to know how to tell your story. No one, like no chatbot is going to tell your story better than you, and you know your business better than anyone else. So when you're looking through your resume, really thinking of it as your highlight reel, get it on one page, look through what you have on there. Is it really impactful language? Are you focused on outcomes? If you were a people leader, how did you develop your team? Did you promote people? Did people get promoted out of your team? How, thinking about like your successes, your wins, what you're most proud of, and highlighting that specifically, and then using a cover letter to like round out the storytelling, but like be your own champion because no one is going to champion your experience like you will because you are the one that knows it the best. So use your time wisely and like really, is this the best highlight of my experience? Like do some like brain dump, like write it out. I'm a huge fan of writing because you just don't know what you're going to uncover. Different things like live different places in your brain. So just think about the roles that you were in, brain dump, but you might come up with something that you like had forgotten about and like add it in there. So use it for like editing and revising and networking. I just like really think that this end of year time is like such an excellent time to plant seeds for what can develop in the new year.
Yeah, or even fresh in the new year too, because sometimes the holidays are busy. Because if people are listening to this in
Exactly.
January, like, reminding, like, I don't think like, that's also a great time because people are kinda getting their
Yeah.
feet back on the ground,
And
and
also, like, look at, like, different Slack groups, look at, like, in-person events or webinars that are coming up, join them. You never know who you're gonna meet. I've had so many interesting conversations with people on random webinars I've joined on LinkedIn if there's, like, breakout rooms and conversations, like,
great point.
really try to be open to, like, learning, meeting new people, putting yourself in different places and spaces. And also, like, spend time outside. Like, go take a walk, take a long walk in the woods if you can, or even around the block, but, like, getting outside and out from behind screens is really just such a great way to help, like, regulate yourself and just, like, come back down to earth.
Or as you said earlier, go stand in some water.
Yeah,
Right.
go stand in some water. That's, like like, I rarely catch fish when I fish. It's more just standing in water and, like, being there and, like, throwing a rod around, but it's like you're in this beautiful space and the quiet and just really appreciating where you are and how beautiful things are. It helps rewire your brain.
And how are you noticing people are getting jobs now? Like, are they getting it by mass applying? Are they getting it through people they know? Or is it a numbers game? Like, what are you observing?
It's a great question. I think I'm not a huge believer in like the spraying and praying approach. Just I don't know if it's really constructive for anyone. Um, but I do think it is a lot of like leveraging your network. Um, and also take any interview like that you get. It's practice. Even if you are currently employed, like
Yeah.
and someone reaches out on LinkedIn, have a conversation. Interviewing is a muscle that like can fatigue, and it is, I think, important to build, like stay consistent, build up, work on it. Cause again, it's your storytelling. And so like working on how to like best highlight your experience. How are you going to talk about what you've done in like a succinct, clear, impactful way is always a good muscle to develop. And like it also helps kind of take the heat out of the situation when it's like just, I don't know what this is. Let me have this conversation. You're not going in there with like the anxiety of like, I need to perform so well. It's like have the conversation, build that muscle, see where it goes. Also, it's an opportunity to meet someone new who is then going to be a part of your network, stay connected with them, like and just kind of see what that brings because it might not be a connection for you, but it could be an opportunity, like a connection that could connect someone else with an
Right.
opportunity,
You
you
never
know?
know what one person could lead you to. You never know.
Truly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like just being open to the conversation, I think. And also like you could come up with some crazy stories. Like I took a conversation that ended up being like a low key, I think like scam company that then emailed the Washington Post about and was like, I think you should investigate them because this feels like a money laundering scenario that could be an interesting podcast.
Oh my god, amazing. I wonder if
So
they did
take a
something with it.
conversation. Like
You
you
never
never
know.
know where it's
But
gonna lead.
keep an eye out.
But yeah, also be
Okay,
mindful of those things.
and I just have, I think 2 more questions. What is like, and you might have already shared this, so it's okay if you repeat it, but what do you think is like the number one pitfall or mistake that job seekers are making right now?
I think handing over crafting your resume and storytelling entirely to AI.
Okay.
Um,
Totally.
I
I see that.
I definitely think those tools have their use, but at the end of the day, you need to know how to communicate your story effectively and succinctly and clearly. And those, I'm just not a huge proponent of outsourcing your storytelling to linear algebra.
Well said.
And I think it's important for you to be able to own your storytelling. Again, sure, if you want to use it to like spitball and like better craft phrasing or couching things, sure. But like know what you're saying, like really like have that connection to your experience because this is your experience and what
Easier.
you
And
bring
they're
to the
hiring
table,
you.
not exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. And then the last thing is people who are in jobs who are feeling that uncertainty, feeling the pressure. And like we know how toxic a lot of corporate environments are right now with like
Mm.
the lack of like security and like leadership has just like gone haywire at a lot of places and gone off their values and all the things. Um, what do you have to say to them if they're like, I want to get out or I want to look elsewhere, but I feel like I just need to like hunker down and just be safe here? Kind of like the known discomfort over the unknown discomfort.
Yeah.
What would you say to them?
Yeah, it's funny. I was having this conversation with a friend this morning. I think really focusing on what you can control in that situation and like absolutely support staying where you are, hunkering down, like until you figure out sort of like what that next step might look like. Um, and also setting boundaries, like if you have leadership that is like texting you demands at like all hours of the day and night, like calling that out in like a really respectful way of like, hey, like responding in an email saying, hey, can we hop on a call and talk about these things? I just want to like get clear. And I'm not sure this text message like format is the most constructive way to have this conversation. But also just understanding that like you you can show up, you can deliver your best work and continue to also figure out what you want going forward and just kind of using that almost as like a real time evaluation of like, this, I don't love this part. I do like these things. And it can be sort of like a real time clarifier of looking at what you enjoy things you don't want to take with you forward, whenever that might be. And also just being mindful of like, I'm here, I'm making the choice to stay here and hunker down. And I'm going to create like some sort of bubble of like protection or boundary to where this is not going to like negatively impact my health, my physical health, my mental health, because I think we've all been in jobs where we have
Yeah.
physically deteriorated because of the stress. And really just kind of like trying to reframe your relationship with that current role and like the current team in a way that allows you to still like navigate and operate in a way where you're contributing to the team, contributing to the business, but it's not sucking the life out of you.
Yeah, it's also like recognizing, I'll build on that to say like recognizing your agency. I think we get so bogged down in the uncertainty and the stress and the like everything I can't do or that's going wrong, right? Like you talked about earlier. But like, and I work a lot with, I mean, I've had to do this for myself and work on it with leaders a lot of like, but there is actually a lot you can control here, even if you feel
Yeah.
like there's so much that you cannot. So starting from that place of where can you regain some agency? Maybe it's the boundaries you set, it's the mindset that you have, the time you start to take back. So you're creating that kind of capacity to be able to start to job search or network or just start to give yourself space to say what could be next. Giving
Hmm.
yourself some spaciousness back, framing, like you said, your relationship to the job. What is it? What are you really taking from, what do you need from it? So then what are you willing to give for that? So you can like
Hmm.
preserve some of yourself. I
Yeah.
think is very important, and like recognizing that even when you are feeling stuck and things are uncertain, you're not out of options of how you move yourself through it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Thank you so much for all of that. That was like such a brilliant like crash course of wisdom that I hope helps listeners think about how they can start to reset their mindset or how they're prioritizing how they're spending their time as they're navigating whether coming off a layoff or wanting to look for something new. So thanks for your expertise, Lance. And thank you for sharing your multitudes with us today.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
If people wanted to learn more about you, work with you, how can they? Tell us.
Oh, okay. Let's see. My website's lindainhr.com. You can find me on Instagram at linda.in.hr. Or find me on LinkedIn. I think you can just Google Lindsey Simmons or Linda in HR. I think I have that in the handle too.
And they can come visit you at the gay disco.
Yeah, and you can come to Mother Disco and see me at the
Mother
door.
Disco.
Next one's Valentine's Day. Come to the Lonely Hearts Club. It's going to be amazing.
That sounds amazing. And then hopefully if they start following you, they'll get some information when your retreat starts or events if they're local, because we all got to
Yeah,
get our feet in some water to get grounded through these crazy times.
absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to try to start running some like local excursions as well, just to get people outside because there's truly nothing better.
Thank you for bringing your energy, inspiration, your stories, your multitudes to us today. We are all wiser for it. And I know I'm like so much happier from just being in your presence. So thank you, because you show up fully with all of you. And if we can all get to that place, the world will be in such a better place for
Oh,
sure.
thank you so much, Linz. I really
All right,
appreciated this
girl.
conversation. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. And thanks, Linz, for getting unfiltered with us.
Thanks so much. Excited to be unfiltered.